Welcome, my amazing friends. Today, I bring you a story that will touch your heart, inspire your soul, and teach you powerful lessons about life, success, and never giving up. This is the story of a man who was not just an actor, not just a comedian. He was a legend, a man whose name is written in golden letters in the history of cinema, a man who made the whole world laugh while hiding his own tears. His name? Sir Charles Spencer Chaplin. But we all know him as Charlie Chaplin. No one, absolutely no one, can match his greatness. His work is timeless. His comedy is universal. His life is a lesson in perseverance, creativity, and the power of never giving up. Even today, decades after his time, he lives in our hearts. His movies still bring joy. His struggles still inspire. And his story, oh my friends, his story will show you that no matter how hard life gets, you must keep going. This is not just a story, this is a journey of pain, rejection, poverty, success, and immortality. Watch till the end because this story is perfect for your English learning and will motivate you like never before. Are you ready? Let's begin. Charlie Chaplin was born in the heart of London, England, on April 16, 1889. His parents, Hannah Chaplin and Charles Chaplin Sr., were both performers in the world of music and theater. They entertained crowds, sang songs, and lived for the stage. But life had different plans for young Charlie. His father was an alcoholic, a man who drank himself into oblivion. He abandoned his family when Charlie was just a little boy. His mother, Hannah, was left alone to raise two children, Charlie and his older half-brother, Sidney. And if you think life was kind to them, you are wrong. They lived in poverty, extreme, unbearable poverty. Sometimes there was no food on the table. Sometimes Charlie had to go to bed hungry. Sometimes his mother would pretend to eat just so her children could have a little more. They moved from one small, dirty room to another. They lived in fear of being thrown out. But Charlie, he was a child, and children, no matter how hard life is, still find ways to smile. Charlie's mother, Hannah, was a talented singer and actress. She performed in theaters, hoping to earn a few pennies to feed her children. Charlie loved watching her. He would sit backstage, mesmerized, dreaming of one day standing in front of an audience. But fate struck again. One terrible night, while performing in a theater, Hannah lost her voice. She could not sing. She tried, but her voice was gone. The audience shouted. They threw things at her. They wanted her off the stage. And then something magical happened. A little boy, just 5 years old, walked onto the stage. Charlie. He picked up the microphone. He sang. He danced. And the crowd, they roared with laughter. They clapped. They cheered. That was the first time Charlie performed in front of an audience. The first time he felt the magic of making people laugh. And deep inside, he knew, this is what I was born to do. But life was cruel. After many years of being poor, hungry, and sad, Charlie's mother lost her mind. She was sent to a mental hospital. Charlie and his brother were left alone, with no family, no money, and nowhere to go. They became street children, wandering, begging, fighting for survival. Imagine this, a small boy, cold and hungry, walking the streets of London, looking through trash cans for food. That was Charlie Chaplin. But did he give up? No. Did he lose hope? Never. He kept going because he had a dream. And my friends, this is where his real journey begins. Charlie Chaplin was now just a small, hungry, and abandoned boy walking the streets of London. He had no home, no parents to care for him, no money, and no idea where his next meal would come from. He and his older brother Sidney were forced to live in workhouses, terrible places where poor people were sent to work in exchange for food and shelter. These places were cold, cruel, and full of suffering. Charlie was just 7 years old when he first entered one of these workhouses. Imagine a child so small, so innocent, being thrown into a world of hard labor and pain. He was separated from Sydney and sent to another workhouse alone. And when he finally returned to his mother, she was even sicker than before. Her mind was slipping away. Sometimes she didn't even recognize Charlie. Charlie watched as doctors dragged her to a mental hospital. He screamed, he cried, but he was powerless. She was gone. Charlie was truly alone, a boy with a dream. But even in his pain, he had something powerful inside him, a dream. Charlie wanted to perform. He wanted to be on stage just like his mother. He wanted to make people laugh, to entertain them, to bring joy to a world that had been so cruel to him. But where would a poor, homeless boy go? How would he even start the first steps towards the spotlight? Charlie knew he had only one option: to work and fight for his dream. He was still a child, but he started looking for small jobs. He washed dishes, delivered newspapers, and even worked as a toy maker. But no matter what job he did, his heart was always on the stage. Then one day, he saw a group of street performers acting and making people laugh. Something inside him told him, "This is it. This is my chance." So he joined them. He started performing on the streets, dancing, singing, doing small comedy acts. At first, no one cared. People just walked past him. But Charlie didn't give up. He kept performing. He kept improving. He watched other comedians, studied their movements, their timing, their expressions, and slowly people started noticing him. They stopped to watch. They started laughing. And for the first time in his life, Charlie felt something magical. He had the power to make people happy. At the age of 14, Charlie got a huge opportunity. He was hired by a theater group called the 8 Lancashire Lads. It wasn't much. He was just a small part of the group, but it was a start. He worked harder than anyone. He learned every move, every trick. He practiced day and night, and his talent, it shined. One day, a theater director saw him and said, "This boy is special. He's different." Charlie was given bigger roles, more responsibilities. And then, at 16 years old, he landed his first major acting role in a play called Sherlock Holmes. He was no longer just a street performer. He was now acting in real theaters, in front of big audiences. People loved him. Directors saw something in him. His expressions, his movements, his ability to make people feel emotions without even saying a word. And then something happened that would change his life forever. Hollywood came calling. In 1910, Charlie was given a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to go to America. He was invited to join a famous comedy troupe called Fred Carnot's Company, which performed in the United States. This was huge. America was where dreams came true. Charlie packed his bags and stepped onto a ship, crossing the ocean towards his future. When he arrived in America, everything felt different. The streets were bigger, the people were louder, the energy was electric, and most importantly, Hollywood was there. Charlie knew one thing: this is where I belong. This is where I will become a star. In 1913, a film company called Keystone Studios noticed Charlie. They gave him a small role in a silent film. It wasn't much, but Charlie saw an opportunity. He wanted to create something unique, something that people would never forget. And so he created a character, a small man in oversized clothes, a tight coat, a tiny little hat, a tiny mustache, and the most famous walk in the world. This character would go on to become one of the most iconic figures in the history of cinema. At first, people didn't understand the character. But when Charlie performed, when he moved, when he made people laugh without speaking a single word, the world fell in love. Charlie's films started becoming popular. Producers begged him to make more. Studios offered him huge amounts of money.
And in just a few years, the poor boy from the streets of London had become the biggest star in the world. By 1917, Charlie Chaplin was not just famous, he was a phenomenon. People stood in long lines just to watch his movies. His face was printed on posters, newspapers, magazines. He was loved in every country, every language, every culture, and he was just getting started. But behind all the fame, behind all the laughter, Charlie was still the same boy. The boy who once starved on the streets, the boy who once cried for his mother, the boy who never gave up. Charlie had finally made it. The poor, hungry boy from London streets was now the biggest movie star in the world. Charlie Chaplin had finally made it. The poor, hungry boy from London streets was now the biggest movie star in the world. He was not just famous.